Hello everyone, back into today's first video. Going to have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days for today's first video. That's going to take us, day 10 is going to take us around the 16th of August. We'll be able to extend out beyond that, the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. And have a look at CFSV2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. And that's going to take us to the beginning of September. Would normally show you Beige Climate Centre on a Thursday, but again, the Beige Climate Centre charts are inaccessible at this time, so we can't show you those. So we're going to be discussing the hot weather, of course, that we've got coming up over the next few days. Yes, it is going to be getting a lot hotter. We have got a level 3 heat wave alert by the UK Met. We'll be discussing that as the first thing within this video. Coming up later on today, we're going to have our latest update for the United States. That's going to be this evening. Okay, let's get on with it then. We're going to start off discussing this heat wave alert that's been issued by the UK Met, by the UK Met Office. So we are at a level 3 alert. So let's see what they're saying about this. Current watch level, level 3 heat wave action. This updated as of 8:47 AM this morning, Thursday, the 6th of August 2020. There's a 90% probability of heat health criteria being met between midday Thursday and 9 o'clock in the evening on Tuesday in parts of England. This alert updates that issued at 10:53 on Tuesday the 4th of August. The alert has been extended in time for all previously affected regions of England, now extended to Tuesday. The alert level has increased the southwest England as confidence in hot weather and warm nights affecting at least the far east of the region has now increased. The alert level in all other regions remains unchanged. Hot or very hot conditions are likely across southern, central and eastern parts of England from Friday as warm air spreads northwards from France. These conditions are likely to persist into weekend, perhaps being eroded from the northwest by less hot and cloudy conditions for a time, with a slight relieving of conditions currently probably reaching a southern limit over central parts of England. Hot or very hot conditions may then extend further northwest again early next week, but with an increasing risk of heavy and thundery showers developing. That will add significant uncertainty and limit the range to which this alert can be issued. Given the uncertainty, there is potential for this alert to be extended in time, again near expiry, with this more likely for regions further south and east in England. This forecast is under day review, but with an update most likely to start the new working week. So yeah, it looks like it'll be very hot in the south and southeast over the coming few days. It's particularly where we've got this amber area where we have heat wave action, kind of like level 3 alert, which is for like East Anglia, southeast England, central southern England, and now extending into the southwest of England. The Midlands up towards eastern England are like on alert readiness levels, so kind of like level 1, level 2. And Scotland, Northern Ireland, and much of Wales not yet in this warning area. But yeah, down in the southeast, it's going to be very hot in the coming days, and people will have to take care and look after themselves in the next few days. So yes, level 3 alert for the heat wave across the south and the southeast. These are the latest temperature predictions by Arpege for tomorrow. So starting with today, so it's going to be a pretty warm day already today in the southeastern corner with temperatures into the upper 20 Celsius. But overnight tonight we keep it very warm with temperatures holding up into the upper teens across much of south and southeast. We get such a very warm start early on tomorrow. And you can see how arpège is just intensifying that heat down in the southeast corner through the course of tomorrow afternoon. It is very limited to the southeast, so kind of like the Midlands, Eastern England. Generally not as hot as it was last Friday. Arpège is kind of forecasting upper 20s Celsius through like the Midlands up into eastern parts of England. Possibly knocking on the door of 30 degrees, but not getting to the 33, 34 widely across England that we did get to last Friday. But in the southeast corner, it is virtually still just as hot. So for East Anglia, again, forecasting 35, and still going up to 35 or 36 down in London. So for London, the southeast, East Anglia is going to be intensely hot tomorrow, and a very warm to hot day across many parts of England coming up. Will Heathrow again manage to get to 37? We shall see. Then we run on into the weekend. And notice again, Saturday, like Friday night into Saturday, it seems very warm in this southeast corner. So again, the weekend could potentially turn really hot on Saturday afternoon down in the south. It's still up, as you're still sort of forecasting 34, 35 to the south of London on Saturday afternoon, and again widely upper 20s to low 30s Celsius across many parts of England. And then we go into sunny, as far as we can go sunny, to 9 AM on sunny morning. Again, very warm overnight, Saturday to Sunday in that south and southeast corner. This is how DWD Icon is forecasting the temperatures. So again, this afternoon, we're up to upper 20s across eastern parts of the country and in the southeast too. But tomorrow's really been first sort of intensely hot day. Arpège not, I should say Icon not quite going as hot as Arpège. Even so, it's going to around 34, 35, like into the southeast corner. Probably a bit hotter for the Midlands and Eastern England as well with Icon compared to the Arpège model. So into the low 30s, like pretty much in the Midlands and East England tomorrow. Very warm night overnight, Friday into Saturday. And then Saturday, the heat is kind of a little bit more restricted to more southern parts of the country. But even so, down in the far south, going to around 33, 34, possibly 35 degrees through there. And then we get through into Sunday. Again, looking hot down in the south. Again, particularly to the south of London on Sunday. Temperatures into the low 30s again. And then Monday, if anything, that heat starts to extend a little bit further northwards, actually, through the course of Monday afternoon, with temperatures going widely through much of the Midlands, East and South East England, into the low to mid 30s Celsius. So several days of hot weather coming up, particularly for the south. In the north, nowhere near as hot there for Scotland and for Northern Ireland, for England and for England, Wales, and particularly for central, southern and southeast parts of England, it is a very hot few days coming up. Right, so this is how the CET is currently looking. This is provisional from Hadley up to yesterday, the 5th of August. We are standing at 16.1. That's bang on the 61 to 1990 average for up to the 5th of August. However, that's going to go up a lot over coming days. That's going to rocket, and I think by this time next week we will probably see that into the 18s. I think that will be probably into the 18s Celsius with CET by this time next week. It will be interesting to see how high that gets in the coming few days. So we'll keep a close eye on that. At the moment, very close to average, and that's going to go up a lot in the next few days, of course. It's going to stay warm really over the next week, 10 days, but with a growing risk of thunderstorms. So these are the 500 millibar high anomaly flow charts of Penn State University for the next week, 10 days. We've got the ECMWF on the top, and the GFS, which we're going to have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars is an area in the absolute high pressure, low pressure, being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red and orange extrapolates high pressure, blue to low pressure. You can see that within the 7 to 10 day time frame, which does get us into the middle of August. The ECM has its area of above average height sitting over and to the north of the country, and that's bringing the winds from an easterly direction. So looking very warm, potentially hot, going into the 7 to 10 day time frame, but with a trough of low pressure to the south that will be trying to push thunderstorms northwards, particularly into England and Wales. The GFS is very similar as well, so that has the above average height sitting over to the north of the country, trough of low pressure to the south. Winds are going to be coming from a very warm or quite hot easterly direction, but the trough of low pressure to the south will be trying to push thunderstorms and heavy showers and downpours northwards from the south. So a little bit of an atmospheric battle going on here between high pressure dominating and low pressure trying to push up from the south. That could produce some big thunderstorms, particularly through the middle and second half of next week. The temperature of those like to be staying warm with that, as winds are coming in off the continent. These were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at London and Old Wet Essential today. And you can see just how hot it's going to be in the next week. This is a very extended spell of really warm to hot weather. Now, dates are along the bottom of the chart down here. So you can see that up to the middle part of August, temperatures are going to be many degrees above average. This is a prolonged and extended spell of very warm to hot weather. As we go into the second half of August, which is period just here, we do see the temperature sliding away. So after a hot second week to August, the third week looks like it's going to cool down. But of course, that is extended range. It's like 2 weeks away. So that's a little bit more uncertain. In the reliable time frame, which is a week to 10-day time frame, this period just here, it does look significantly warmer or hotter than average. Precipitation-wise, loads of dry weather coming up over the weekend, but into next week, very gradually, the rainfall spikes are increasing. So with these hot temperatures next week, there is an increasing risk of volatility, sparking off heavy showers and possibly thunderstorms through the course of next week. That's all to be determined. Detail of that needs to be pinned down, but definitely it looks like we're still on track for increasing amounts of thunderstorms through the course of next week with those hot temperatures, and then eventually, by the time you get through to the middle, the second half of the month, possibly going into a bit of a cool down. Temperature anomalies looking very hot from the 6th through to 14th of August for England and Wales. So on the temperature scale here, we're going up to like 6 to 8 degrees above average, I think, going into those deep red colours, as we are the northern parts of France as well. This is a very, very significant spell of warm to hot weather coming up, particularly so for England and Wales, which is why the UK Met have issued that heatwave alert, of course. Precipitation anomalies from the 6th to the 14th of August, near normal. Wet driving average Scotland North 9, near norm for England and Wales. It's indicative of the fact that next week there's a growing threat of thunderstorms. This is how the Windflow Map is looking today from earthnullschool.net. So pressure is rising. Pressure is rising today across particularly sort of the continent, but also over the country to some degree as well, which is keeping these areas of low pressure out in the Atlantic. Notice the wind arrows are beginning to shift into the south. That's what's going to start dragging up this heat from off the continent as the wind tilts round into the south, and the high pressure blocks the progress of these areas of low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic. Those low pressure trying to bring in the cool, fresh winds from off the Atlantic that we've had most of the summer, but with the high pressure over to the east country, it's blocking the progress of those low pressures. So instead of getting westerlies, the wind is shifting round to the south and to the southeast, and that's what's going to drag up heat from off the continent. Right then, so this is how UK Met is looking for Sunday. So Sunday looking very warm to hot across particularly southern and southeastern parts of the country. There is a little bit of a thundery low to our south. It could threaten 1 or 2 isolated thunderstorms in the southeast on Sunday. Into next week, so the wind stays in from the east or the southeast. That could start to pull those hot temperatures back northwards again, but at the same time, pressure is weakening, and we have a growing risk of heavy showers and thunderstorms breaking out by the middle part of next week. Temperatures looking very warm to hot, though, through the middle part of next week. This is how the GFS is looking for Sunday. Again, dragging in the wind from an east-southeast direction. Southern, southeastern parts of the country are still hanging on to those hot temperatures as we've established throughout the weekend. Into next week, we keep things looking pretty hot across most parts of the country. Winds will be coming in from an east to southeast direction through the first part of the week, but as pressure lowers, as pressure weakens, we could well start to see heavy showers and thunderstorms breaking out. By Thursday, we have a thundery area of low pressure here moving northwards from northern France into particularly southern parts of the country, bringing an increasing risk of thunderstorms. That low pressure starts to drift more towards the southwest, perhaps taking risk of storms down towards southwestern parts of the country. And then it looks like it's moving to like the following weekend, which is 15th, 16th of August. High pressure perhaps takes over across Scandinavia. That could start to drag in some fresher air, some cooler and fresher air from off the North Sea. But we'll probably start to limit the thunderstorm risk to some degree. We're beyond day 10 now, but this particular GFS run wants to re-establish high pressure again from the Azores. So here we go again, often running into the second half of the month, into a spell of very warm or hot weather. That would probably, that came off, another spell of like very warm to hot weather in the second half of August. That would probably seal us in to an 18 Celsius CET month, I would have thought, unless something really dramatic in terms of colder weather happens in the last week of the month. This is how the GEM is looking. So Sunday, again, high pressure over and to the north to northeast of the country, dragging in those very warm to hot easterly winds. Here's the upper air temperatures. The GEM is actually bringing in the plus 20 Celsius isotherm on Sunday, just into its extreme southeastern corner. So it does imply that the far south and southeast, like I say, very hot throughout this coming weekend. Into the early part of next week, well, it stays very warm to hot, particularly for England and Wales, but with pressure lowering, there's an increase in risk of thunderstorms as we go through the course of next week. Upper air temperatures do look really hot across most parts of England and Wales, particularly for the early part of next week. But then we've got this thundery low developing across northern parts of France and pushing northwards as well, bringing an increasing risk of thunderstorms. And that low pressure just sort of sits over the country as we go through into the second half next week. Widespread storms are likely there with that one, and maybe longer spells of thundery rain even. It will still be very warm and humid, but big thunder breaking out there on the GEM as we go into the second half next week, and staying pretty thundery seemingly up to day 10, which is 16th of August. Even then, we've still got this thundery low pressure down across the southern part of the country in particular. So all of this to be determined, all of this to be firmed up on in terms of thunderstorms. I know a lot of you are waiting for storm watch. I think we're definitely going to have storm watch coming in the next few days, but not yet. It's too far away to firm up on the detail. This is how the ECM is looking. So again, drawing up those hot southerly winds, particularly into the south-southeast on Sunday. Northern areas are much cooler though, remember. So Scotland, Northern Ireland, a lot cooler there over weekend for England and Wales. So the ECM also looking hot, especially so down in the south-southeast. Early next week, it's hot for England and Wales too, with this little trough drifting northwards, bringing a risk of thunderstorms through the early part of next week. And then those storms probably get more widespread as we go into the middle and second half of next week, as we get this sort of thundery area of low pressure developing across the north and across the west of Europe. So increasingly thundery signals through the second half of next week, albeit with a continuation of pretty hot temperatures. Temperatures do eventually start to ease back by the middle of the month. It's day 10, 16th of August. Temperatures then have upper air temperatures have then finally started to ease back a little bit, but most of next week looking quite hot and an increasing risk of thunderstorms. These are the temperatures, sort of surface temperatures being forecast by the ECMWF, by that ECM run. So very warm today, already in those orange colours. Tomorrow it's hotter. Down in the southeast corner, we're probably going into mid-30 Celsius with those deep red colours. Widely sort of upper 20s to around 30 degrees across much of England tomorrow. Into Saturday, again, the southeast holds on to that heat as well, and then into Sunday, again, it's down in the south and southeast that we do have those hot temperatures. Into the early part of next week, if anything, the heat starts to drift back northwards again, but there will be an increased risk of thunderstorms with that heat drift back northwards, and all the time just keep these red colours going with maximum temperatures through much of next week, which is temperatures hovering around the 30 degrees Celsius mark. The second half of next week does see a drop back in the temperature, still pretty warm, but a drop back in the temperature, going from orange to red on the temperature colour scale through the second half of next week. The rainfall forecast based on that ECM run looks like this. Remember, all the data is coming from Tameteo.com. So for today, there's a little bit of show rain. Been a little bit of show rain actually down in the south today, but going to be a lot of dry weather in the next few days away from the northwestern corner. Anyway, a few scattered thunderstorms could develop there, like through the weekend. But generally, there's a lot of dry weather until the early part of next week, when we get these storms beginning to drift up from the south. So as early as like Monday, Tuesday, we could start to spark off some pretty big storms across England and Wales in particular. And we just keep this thundery sort of potential going really into the middle and second half of next week. Again, there is a risk of some really torrential storms in place. It looks like a general mass of rain, doesn't it, across England and Wales? It won't be as widespread about, I don't think. It's going to be thunderstorms, thundery showers. So some places will probably miss those storms and stay dry. But it does look as though there's potential for a lot of storms through the course next week. Red colours appearing there across Wales this time, indicating some very, very torrential rain and thunderstorms through that part of the world. And going up towards day 10, we just keep the risk of these storms going really. So up to day 10, which is 16th of August, got another cluster of thunderstorms sitting to our south, probably going to push northwards. So yeah, really hot, but also potentially very, very wet in places as well. These are options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 16th of August. From the Icelandic Met, we have 11 members of the ECM ensembles at day 10 with high pressure over to the north of the country, bringing in a very warm to hot easterly wind. Possibly, again, still thundery, particularly so for more southern areas. 10 with high pressure to the northeast, again bringing in very warm to hot southerly winds. Low pressure to the south could be threatening thunderstorms to southern parts of the country. 9 with a trough of low pressure over top of the country. That's probably going to be more unsettled and potentially a little bit cooler as well. 8 with high pressure to the north, and again bringing in very warm easterly winds. Low pressure to the south could be threatening thunder to more southern parts of the country. 7 with an area of high pressure over the country, and 6 with high pressure just to our west. They could be a little bit cooler and a little bit fresher. Most of those options still involve high pressure, but a risk of thunderstorms across southern parts of the country. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got, which is getting us to the 21st of August. We have 13 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure to our east, and we're bringing in winds from a southeasterly direction. Very warm with those, potentially a bit thundery in the south and southwest. 13 probably with some sort of weak ridge through the country, so it could be quite a lot of dry weather with that. 10 with high pressure to our north, bringing in the winds from the east. They could be pretty hot. Low pressure to the south could be threatening thunderstorms from the south. We've got 8 with a trough of low pressure over the country, so that's going to be quite cool and unsettled, that option. That's a cool and unsettled option. And 7 with high pressure to the west, low pressure to the east, and we'd be bringing in the winds from a northerly direction. That so they're a little bit cooler. The 8 just there and the 7 just there are a little bit cooler. However, I think the majority of ECM ensemble members, the 13 there, the 13 there, and the 10 there, I think the majority are still looking pretty warm even in 2 weeks' time. Finally, the CFS-V2, so these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period is going to take us from the 6th to the 12th of August. The coming week, we'll have high pressure over to the east of the country, dragging up those hot southerly winds. So, yeah, going to be hot, but with an increasing risk of thunderstorms. Week 2 is going to be the 13th to the 19th of August. Again, high pressure is sitting to our east, low pressure out to west, dragging up these hot southerly to southeasterly winds once again in week 2, but with low pressure to west and south, there is a risk of thunderstorms, of course. Week 3 is going to take us from the 20th to 26th of August. High pressure over Scandinavia then, bringing in a wind from an east-southeasterly direction, low pressure out to the west. So essentially that looks like it'll be pretty warm and thundery as well. And then week 4 is the 27th of August, 2nd of September. High pressure then over and to the southwest of the country. Possibly just hinting at going a little bit cooler with that, possibly bringing in a wind light from more of an Atlantic direction, which is going to be a fresher and cooler direction. Still a lot of dry weather with high pressure ridging up from the southwest, so quite a lot of dry weather with that, but temperatures just cooling down perhaps a little bit. So it really does look like we're in for an extended spell of very warm weather. When we did the GavsWeatherVids summer forecast, we was expecting this to be quite a hot August. The forecast went off the rails in July, as we know, as we had a cooler than average July, which wasn't anticipated. But it certainly looks like the summer forecast, it could be coming back on track here with the chance of a very warm to hot August emerging. And also risk of some big thunderstorms as well as we go through next week. So if you're a fan of heat, if you're a fan of convection, then there's a lot to get your teeth into. If you don't like hot weather, if you don't like convection though, then it's not a tremendously good outlook, because it does look as though we're going to maintain those heights to the east and the northeast, even up to the middle part of August, which probably keeps things pretty warm. Although by mid-August, we should see the temperature falling back a little bit anyway. Right then, so that later on with the USA forecast. So that's going to be having a look at weather for the United States tomorrow. A lot coming up. We have European outlook. We're going to have GMA Friday, month ahead look ahead, and we'll also have a 10 to 14 day update, bring up update with all of the developments with tomorrow's expected and predicted hot temperatures. But for this video, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.